up, rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Happy 4th of July! And I just want to say thank you for everyone. You know, every single person does contribute something to this country. I'm proud to be from this country. And, you know, as a service, well, a service member, family member, as the only ranking file member of my family to fail basic training, I appreciate all of the people that fight on a daily basis, you know, and those unsung heroes that make this country great. Thank you, Cynthia Fire Fairy 42, for your years of service. Thank you so much. And Wolfram, thank you for serving as my mod. Alice G, good morning. Captain Kern, good morning. Jesse, good morning. John, good morning. Just Another Human, good morning. All of the great things. We do have a little bit of a sad story, but again, this man is a absolute hero, doing something that I think a lot of us would struggle with, which is a pastor unfortunately died in a house fire that killed 6 family members after running inside to save his grandchildren. And thank you so much for your service, John. I appreciate it so much. And that's a tough one. Thank you and good morning, Fraudit Terminator. And Audio Coffee, good morning. I mean, what a brave, do we have a picture? No, we don't. But what a brave and selfless gift that this pastor gave his family, trying to save others. I think that's the greatest part of this country is, you know, you can watch a lot of the tragedies that happen in this country, but what you also see is a bunch of regular people just helping each other, just getting out. You know, they might not even have seen this person from, you know, any other time in their life, but they're willing to get out and help. And I love that about this country. A Wisconsin pastor died in a devastating house fire that killed 6 family members on Sunday after he ran back inside the building to try to save his grandchildren. The fire, which authorities believe was an accident, broke out overnight, engulfing the vacation rental near the Wisconsin Dells in flame. Pastor Steve Witt made it out safely, only to discover that 2 of his granddaughters were still inside. His longtime friend, Pastor Larry Schomer, told WMTV. He went back inside to see if he could save them and unfortunately did not make it. Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Scion, or SNON, and local Beautiful Savior Lutheran Church in Green Bay, Wisconsin, confirmed that Witt and 5 of his family members passed away in the house fire. The 5 others were identified as Lydia Witt, Charis Kuehl, Stella Kuehl, Lena Henslin, and Mercy Henslin. Linda Witt and Charis Kuehl were the pastor's daughter, while Stella Kuehl was Charis's daughter and the pastor's granddaughter. Lena and Mercy Henslin were also the pastor's granddaughters. By God's grace, a number of other family members survived. The WELS president, Mark Schroeder, said in a statement, "The pain of losing 6 members of one family cannot be described in words." I would just like to say that this is possibly, I mean, this is so heartwarming. I mean, I'm terrified of fire, terrified. we have a fire pit outside. Mr. Mo has kindly uninvited me to all times with the boys in the fire pit because I am a nervous wreck about it. I do realize that my sons do not have my interminable, disgracefulness in, my ability to fall into everything. But this would be one of my worst fears. And for him to conquer that and go back in and try to help people, he is a hero in my book. I mean, my goodness, I hope everyone in this community wraps their hands around this family, gives them hugs, helps them out because I can't imagine. But definitely something I wanted to bring forward. I know I bring forward, sad stories, but I definitely want to recognize everyday heroes. And this man was. This man knew that, this was a fire. It was going to be terrible, but he wanted to get those little girls out. And unfortunately, sometimes we can do all the heroic things and it doesn't end the way we want it to. In other news, French Excalibur sword has vanished. So, do we now know who King Arthur of France is? I'm just asking for a friend. Look, I'm American. I don't know. French Excalibur sword vanishes after 1,300 years as the sword in the stone, literally. Well, it's even chained down and someone stole it. Oh, good Lord. An ancient stone known as the French version of King Arthur's legendary Excalibur has mysteriously vanished from the town where, according to local lore, it had remained in a rock for 1,300 years. The Durandal sword appears to have been taken by a thief from the stone in the medieval town of Rocadamore, where it was one of the town's main attractions. Telegraph reported, y'all start looking on eBay. I'm just saying, but not saying. For centuries, it's believed that the sword once belonged to Roland, a semi legendary knight who bravely fought for Charlemagne in the 8th century. Officials of Rocadamore have launched an investigation into the disappearance of the sword, which was yanked from its spot in a cliff wall some 100 feet off the ground. Durandal was an indestructible sword and the sharpest in the world, able to cut through stone with a single blow, according to the legend. So, what, did it not get sharpened one day and then it just happened to stick in a stone? I mean, have you ever seen a Ginsu knife? Just kidding. I used to love, I wanted my mother so much to buy these Ginsu knives because, well, let's be honest, I wouldn't have used them for good. I would have probably cut all of my fingers off trying to get a paper thin slice of tomato. And she was probably exercising mom wisdom when she didn't buy, the world's sharpest knives for us to, pretend to be internet chefs with. Well, not internet, but, just like Julia Child. I can just see all of the shenanigans I would have gotten into. The sword's magical qualities are described in an 11th century epic poem called The Song of Roland. The poem, written in Old French, is the oldest surviving major work of French literature, with the sole surviving copy stashed at the Bodleian Library in Oxford, according to the Telegraph. Charlemagne received Durandal from an angel before he gifted it to his best soldier, according to the legend. Roland, before his valiant death at the Battle of Roncesvalles Pass, tried to break the sword on the rocks to prevent his enemies from taking it, but even he could not destroy the sword. The knight threw the sword into the air, which traveled hundreds of miles before landing in a cliff in Rocadamore. Or Look, I'm not French. I'm pretty sure I don't know. I have just, probably irritated the entire French populace with my, Midwestern pronunciation. The disappearance has devastated the locals. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's not yours, don't touch it. I swear to goodness. If people, let's see, I'm going to copy and paste because we know my legendary spelling skills. We're going to miss Durandal. It's part of the Rockamore for years, and there's not a guide who doesn't point it out when he visits. Mayor Dominique Lefant told La Dépêche, a French newspaper, Rockamore feels like it's been robbed of part of itself, but even if it is a legend, the destinies of our village and the sword are entwined, she added. People are trying to determine how someone scaled 100 feet of sheer rock wall to snatch the sword. Honestly, criminals, if you have enough gumption to scale a cliff, go scale a cliff and do a YouTube video of it. For the love of all that is holy. Oh, good Lord. Uh, in what in the heck is happening? A Maryland grandfather to be 40 years old dies after a fight with a neighbor over his dogs running into their yard. Look, it's their dogs. I don't understand how this got so out of hand. But, try to be a nice neighbor. Don't let your dogs go into other people's things. And then also don't, lose your gasket. Uh, if things go bad, there is thank you. I will promptly forget this at the end of this stream because you guys know me, but thank you so much, John. A Maryland grandfather to be died after he was struck in the back of the head when he tried to apologize to his neighbors over his dogs running into their backyard, his heartbroken family claimed. Martin Guevara's dogs escaped his Boyd home through a hole in his fence into his neighbor's property on June 14th, according to Montgomery County Police Department. Guevara, 40 years old, went to his neighbor's house to retrieve the dogs and apologize for the inconvenience, his daughter-in-law, Flores, told News 4. The family man had gotten into a verbal argument with an unidentified female at the property over his dogs running loose in the neighborhood when things took a violent turn. Investigators found that the female hit Guevara in the head during the altercation, and he needed to be transported to an area hospital. Now, this is... Oh, yes. Can we... Look, I don't want to rain on anyone's freedom parade, and far be it from me to tell you that celebrating America doesn't include, 80 M80s. But maybe we could have like a firework field. Maybe we could be a little cognizant of people coming, with PTSD, with dogs, with small children. Maybe we could have, another a place where people can set off their mortgage payment worth of explosives that they buy for this month. I have never gotten it. I'm not knocking anybody who has, but I don't understand fireworks. And thank you for being a member for 7 months, Christine. Christine does have a YouTube channel. Check her out. I think she follows trials and other things and puts her own unique spin on it. So thank you so much for being a supporter. But there's another point to this. I mean, I really think that Hollywood has Hollywood TV shows and other things, the head is in an incredibly fragile, spot. Getting, bonked in the head, getting, hit with a bottle, any of these things are deadly. And I think people are just numb to the idea. They think it's a video game or something like that, where, you have a concussion and it's no big deal. People do not get how incredibly fragile the human skull is, how pressures have to be maintained. A video of the altercation shows the female and an unidentified male arguing with Guevara before the fists started flying, according to News 4. Flores claimed that before she started filming, the female neighbor hit her father-in-law in the back of the head. She went then and slapped him on the side of his face, and she hit him again, Flores told the outlet. But this is when I grabbed my phone and recorded. He did not deserve all that. 2 weeks later, on June 30th, the beloved family member would be pronounced dead. Guevara's body is undergoing an autopsy at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Baltimore to determine his cause of death. The county's Major Crime Division is also investigating the cause of death. Guevara's neighbors, who have not been charged with any crime, told an outlet that the soon-to-be grandfather was trespassing on their property, but refused to elaborate earlier. Two homes in the Boyds are about 5 miles outside Germantown, Maryland. While the family waits for answers on how their loved one dies, they're outraged that the situation ever resorted to violence. This is just something we didn't have that didn't have to happen over some dogs, Flores told the outlet. We want peace from everything. We just want things to get done right. Guevara had been an active member of his church and was known for his kindness and generosity. Uh, his family members are devastated. His heartbroken daughter in law says what hurts the most is that his first grandchild, a granddaughter, is due next month, and she will never get to meet her grandfather. I was like, "You're going to teach her how to walk." He said, "I'm going to teach her how to ride a horse." So, if they're, like I tell my boys, you can only control yourself. If you are getting too frustrated with a situation or anything else like that, walk away. Walk away. As far as what I can read in the article, no one has been charged yet. My guess is they're probably waiting for an autopsy. I don't know. The East Coast seems to be a little bit nebulous about procedural things. In another hero of the day, Doggo McHeroson, a pit bull's heart stops after being stabbed while protecting his family home, but now his tail is wagging again. He did a good boy job and he is going to be okay, and we are here for it. A 75-pound rescue pit bull named Poncho loves being called a good boy and more than lives up to the name. Poncho reached heroic status in June when he found an armed intruder who broke into his family's home in Espanola, New Mexico one night. Once Poncho realized there was danger, he fought to protect his human, a dad, a mom, and their daughter in their home. And Poncho kept fighting despite the person kicking him multiple times, displacing a disc in his spine. And thank you so much, Chris Rowland, for being a member for 1 month. Happy Alice in Wonderland Day. Have a wacky day. Well, I mean, I think if I was on everything that Lewis Carroll was on, I'd have an Alice in Wonderland Day all the time. Good morning, Tammy, and happy 4th of July to you. Once Poncho displacing a disc in his spine, which Poncho's veterinary team told Today.com in a recent interview. Maddie Allen, the communications director at Hispaniola Humane, who spoke on behalf of Poncho's family, explained that during the confrontation, Poncho was stabbed in the neck. However, he did not give up his role as protector. He bit the intruder's arm, clamped down, and would not let go until his owner gave the signal that the danger had passed. This boy better get all the bacons and all the cheese. This is the bestest boy ever. I love stories like this. I love it. I'm glad that he survived, and he better get all of the bacons. He better get first choice of bacons from now on. Eventually, authorities apprehended the assailant, but Poncho's struggle was far from over. Poncho's family scrambled to find overnight care that would treat his life-threatening conditions, rushing to various veterinary clinics until they reached Hispaniola Humane Shelter, where Poncho was adopted 8 years earlier. Allen recalls Poncho arriving at the shelter in shock, treating his severe neck injury. We had to do a lot of work to the area because it was dirty, she explains. Allen said at one point, Poncho stopped breathing. He was giving life-saving chest compressions and pumped with medications to prep him for surgery. The team around him tried to soothe him with reminders that he was a good boy, and they were amazed that Poncho was so receptive to the words. Jedi Jess, thank you for your super chat. And yes, he deserves all the treats and the pets, and maybe even to be able to sit on the couch or get his own lazy boy. These are just suggestions. Whenever we called him a good boy, his tail started thumping, Allen recalls. Even when they brought him back after his heart stopped, he stopped breathing, lifted his head, and wagged his tail. Oh, Poncho is the best. Alan said she couldn't believe Pancho was still waving his tail at all the strangers after the most traumatic experience. She was touched how the canine's action proved that pit bull stereotypes are wrong. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Pit bulls scare me. I understand that it's all about the training and it can be part of the trainers, but I have seen a lot of people that aren't really good with pit bulls. I think if you have bigger dogs, if you have dogs that potentially can have all that power, then you need to really, really have good training. That's all I'm going to say on that. Go to Bronca for all your, pit bull shenanigans. This is not that channel. But when a dog, regardless of his breed, is a good doggo, we support that over here. I think pit bulls get such a bad rap in the media, and people might not understand them. You think how he latched onto this intruder, and someone could say, well, maybe he'll show some sort of aggression towards us. This entire group of strangers trying to help him, but no, he didn't. He knew we were all there to help. After his surgery, Pancho was reunited with his family. Alan recalls how Pancho's mom was brought to tears when he wobbled into the clinic's veterinary recovery area. His dad dropped to his knees and cradled Pancho's head in his hand. Thank you. Thank you, Tammy, and thank you for being a member for 3 months. Yes, this intruder needs a Lord Chippy. A Lord Chippy awaits because you do not mess with a family's doggo. So everyone greeted Pancho and served a ribeye steak to him for the. They see. Oh, they all agreed to only serve ribeye steaks to Pancho for the rest of his days. Dogs are so loyal to their people that they would even lay down their lives for them, Alan said, her voice audibly becoming emotional. It's unbelievable love every day. Look at him. He's got his own little collar and everything. And it looks like he has a mariachi band behind him. I mean, you get to come home, eat steak, and have a mariachi band? This is a hero's welcome. Now that the worst of Pancho's recovery is behind him, he's back to walking, though Alan notes he's still a little bit unsteady. He's a miracle. I don't know how a dog survives to have been kicked so hard his spine was displaced. Just absolutely amazing. I'm glad. Oh, photographic evidence. He got a steak, and he's not even eating the paper plate. So there you go. Pancho forever. Best doggo in the world, and he's only going to get steak, and I approve. In what in the Walmart of receptions is going on here? Like, look, I get it. Receptions are really, really expensive, and it's really about starting your life with another person. But to have a reception on the subway instead, I mean, hey, it's not my wedding. Y'all do what you want to do, but I'm not sure. Hello, unbronzed Aussie Laura. We couldn't afford a $300,000 New York City wedding reception, so we had one on the L train instead. Daniel Jean couldn't afford to give his bride, Esme Valdez, an over-to-the-top wedding, so the Brooklynite took it underground to the subway. We didn't have the money to do the dream reception. I'd always envisioned, Jean, 39, a marketing manager from Flatbush, told the Post, noting the high cost of hosting nuptials in New York City. I decided to surprise her by having a dope reception on the L train. Homeless people pee in those. I'm just saying, look, I'm just saying, you have a backyard. You might could be able to rent out the local, VFW lounge. It's not going to be classy, but it's not going to be where homeless people, might attack you and or pee on you. He and Valdez, 38, a beautician, officially entered holy matrimony with a private church ceremony on June 27th. However, the twosome toasted their purported union alongside 20 friends, as well as a subway car full of complete strangers on Tuesday, with a reported estimated cost of only $3,000 and a tetanus shot. Exchanging vows with a standard ceremony and reception in the Big Apple can cost upwards of $63,000, according to a May 2024 report from the wedding hub The Knot. The Sky High figure is approximately 80% greater than the national average cost of hitching in 2023, which balanced out to $35,000. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna give you a little snapshot into how my wedding with Mr. Mo did. We spent, even with two dresses because I was mildly pregnant, um, under $2,000. You don't have to spend a good amount of money for it to be a memorable day. But hey, that's just my opinion. Gene, however, tapped pal Jodelle Joe the Show Lewis to pull their thrifty subway soiree off. I emceed the reception. My friend Chris Dupre helped manage the setup. We hired a wedding planner, Anya, to assist with overall production. Lewis 40, a stand-up comedian, told the Post. No stranger to partying with strap hangers, Lewis has previously helmed a series of splashy shindigs on the train, including a wet and wild pool party. His engineer powered blowouts are buzzy attempts at cleaning up the city's not so sweet reputation for being unsafe and unfriendly. Um, yeah, because nothing says friendly like a bunch of drunk wedding crowd on a sub when you're trying to just get to work. We had food catered by Chef O of O's Grill Spot in Brooklyn. We had cake, drinks, and music from DJ Woo Kid, said Lewis of the wedding celebration. It was incredibly fun and a memorable party for around $3,000 that would have cost us $30,000 at a reception hall. As wedding costs continue climbing amid inflation crisis, budgeted brides and groom like Valdez and Jean are becoming creative when it comes to saving some bucks on their big day. While some penny-wise pairs are turning to AI technologies such as ChatGPT to dial back their I do expenses, other frugal flames are even foregoing fancy wedding vendors and entrusting big box shops like Costco to handle their flowers, cake, and decor. And the frugality worked wonders for another way for Valdez. She told the Post that their wild ride reception further deepened her love for Jean. When they walked onto the train and saw everything, I thought, wow, I picked the right guy. Well, weddings are sometimes an interesting collection of insanity. You're supposed to be there to celebrate this, these two people starting out on their journey. Then everyone gets really, really drunk, and someone does the chicken dance. I'm not sure why it's required, but it is a Midwest thing, along with the Cupid Shuffle, possibly the only song I can dance to because it gives you instructions. And even then, I'm still like left, right, damn it. Oh yeah, no, I audio coffee. Uh, when you're wearing those bridal undergarments, yeah, I went from looking 6 months pregnant, which I actually was, to people are like, "Are you even pregnant?" I was like, yes, I am. Thank you so much for asking. Which is why I wore purple, because let's be honest. So, I mean, they had fun with it. I don't know if it spoke to her heart. That's great. Would I want a wedding reception on a New York subway? No, I will not. No, I would not. But if it works for them, great. In more important news, and I generally don't get into these kind of topics, but this might be something that you want to look into on your own. So it looks like Tucker Carlson is set to interview Ukrainian President Vladimir, I forgot my wallet at home, Zelensky. So we will see how that goes. Now, I will say that everyone is perfectly entitled to have their own ideas about this, but this will probably be one of the more interesting things to watch if you guys are in any way politically inclined or want to see this. This will probably be very interesting Tucker Carlson has announced that he will be interviewing Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, marking a significant moment in his series of high profile interviews since departing from Fox News. The announcement was made via a social media post where Carson expressed his long-standing effort to secure this interview, especially after interviewing Vladimir Putin. Looks like we've got the Zelensky interview we've been trying for 2 years with particular intensity after interviewing Putin in February, Carlson stated. The point is to bring Americans much needed information about the conflict that's completely reshaping their country's position in the world. So I'm not going to read the whole article. I don't know when it hasn't set a time for actually putting this up, but I do think it's an interesting thing to maybe keep an eye on if you're at all interested in, world politics. So definitely just kind of wanted to bring the story to you guys as something to maybe put on your little, put a note, put a pin in that and see how that goes. In sadder wedding news, and what the hell is wrong with people? I swear to goodness. A Missouri couple's wedding goes awry when the groom is shot in the head because they were trying to rob the bride and groom. Like, what in the absolute Walmart rapture is the shenanigans that is going on in this country? I feel like the dad of the country needs like to stop on the brakes and say, if y'all don't quit fooling around, we're not going to get a frosty, because this is absolutely ridiculous. A day of celebration quickly took a dark turn after the groom was shot in the head by armed robbers during his backyard wedding reception in Missouri. Manuel and Dulce Gonzalez had been together for over a decade, and they were already parents of two small children when they held an intimate wedding ceremony for about 50 of their closest friends and family in the backyard of their St. Louis home on Friday, Fox News 2 reported on Monday. Just before 1 a.m. on Saturday, the St. Louis Metropolitan Police came to the home in Dutchtown for reports of a shooting. Witnesses told police that two masked men entered the party and demanded money from guests. As one of the men were going through the guests' pockets, an armed man stood behind the groom with a gun pointed at him, police said. At one point, police said a shot was fired and Manuel was struck in the head. Both suspects fled on foot. They failed to steal anything from the victims. They took nothing, yet took everything away from us. Yara Beth Pena, the bride's sister, told Fox News Now. Manuel was transported to the hospital and remains in critical condition. We need prayers that he will come through this, the family said in a post on GoFundMe dedicated to the couple. On Sunday, family told Fox News 2 police detectives had not yet collected all the evidence and hadn't interviewed all the witnesses. He's a good father, a good husband to my sister. He's a hard worker, Pena said. He's just an all-around good person that, I don't know, he didn't deserve this. So far, no arrests have been made in this. Now, I hope that they are able to find the people who did this, the absolute monsters who wrecked just a wonderful family event. Just absolutely awful. I don't get people. I just don't get people. What were they going to get? Maybe $100, and that was worth this gentleman's possibly his life. Just look, you two. If I find you, dang it, you're going to Snake Island. You're just gonna go. It's just all there is to it. I will not deal with shenanigans in my country anymore. In an update, the woman who claimed that a famous soap star was telling her to poison her husband in his soup has reached a plea deal. So I know you all are going to be shocked, but this is a Massachusetts woman and not a Florida woman. we are both fairly frugal, but then we have our own little side splurges. So we spent $1,000, but we were also saving for a house. That's the part with big extravagant weddings I don't get, is you're just starting out. Have a good party. That's great, but why not save that $30,000 you were planning for one day and put it on a down payment to a house? I don't get it. but I've never been a big peopling person, and the party is important to some people. The Massachusetts woman who allegedly poisoned her husband's soup at the behest of a person she thought was a handsome soap opera star pled guilty to lesser charges, court records show. A judge sentenced Roxanne Doucette to 1 year of probation. Town said police originally arrested her on charges of attempted unaliving, intimidation of a witness, juror police or court official resisting arrest, and assault and battery on a police officer. She was then charged with violating an abuse protection order after she contacted her husband following the arrest. She doesn't seem like she's got all of her squirrels running in one direction. So I can kind of see where she would just call her husband because she calls him every day. On Tuesday, she pled guilty to violating the protection order while other charges were dismissed. It doesn't appear she was ever formally charged with attempted murder. As Law and Crime previously reported, Town said police officers were called to Nashoshoba Valley Medical Center after Dosette's daughter told authorities she suspected her mother had poisoned her father after she found disturbing messages. Detectives later learned that Dosette was messaging a person she thought was Thorsten Kane of the Bold and Beautiful. Court documents obtained by the media said one of the messages on December 1st reportedly said, "You have to get rid of your husband, honey. I need you so much." To which Doucette responded she needed to do some thinking. Thank you so much, Fraud Wrangler. I hope you have a great, wife or not wife. Well, you have a great wife, but I meant a great 4th of July. I was thinking wife from the story. So there you go. You have a great wife and have a great 4th of July. She later texted that she was making soup with a special potion, and then she said her husband had eaten the soup and was not feeling well. Maybe I can collect life insurance, Dosette allegedly said to Thorsten when he wanted to know if she may be getting any money. Police responded shortly after 5 p.m. on December the 1st to find Dosette's 73-year-old husband barely responsive. He was dizzy, mumbling, not making sense. Paramedics took him to the hospital. The daughter later said, or had asked what had happened, and he told her he started feeling unwell after he made or ate soup that the wife made that wasn't very good and tasted bitter. Dosette denied poisoning her husband, but said she believed she was a victim of a scammer. She lost $8,000, allegedly. She told detectives her husband might have had a stroke, she told authorities. Doctors reportedly tested her husband for opioids and all the, other fun street, not legal pharmaceuticals. Detectives seized Dosette's phone and iPad as evidence. Dosette allegedly assaulted a police officer as he tried to take her into custody. In an interview with local ABC affiliate WCVB, Dosette again denied poisoning her husband. What they say is wrong because I'm a wonderful cook. My son's gone to culinary school. I learned from the best, my mom, she told WCVB. I did not try to poison my husband. She said she had cut off all contact with the person pretending to be from the Bold and Beautiful. Good morning, cool gamer. Yeah, so this sounds like an elderly woman that was being scammed by someone who pretended they were from the Bold and the Beautiful, which I didn't know was still on, but I've never been big into JKD Buck. It is what it is at this point. It's news in America. If we don't have at least one Gary Busey and or Nick Nolte and or Christopher Walken look-alike, is it really the news? A New York town gets a little bit snippy with lazy litter bugs. A town in New York's Long Island is aiming to clean up its chronic littering problem with aggressive anti-littering campaigns and steep fines. The town of Babylon's Operation Clean campaign has launched with an ad showing a serial litterer getting some karma in the form of a garbage truck dumping its load on his lawn. The town has also erected anti littering signs which read, "Why are you littering? I'm lazy. I don't care about natural areas. Mommy still cleans up after me. All of the above." Why do we have to have the monikers of being slobs? And thank you, Wolfram, for gifting 5 Mo in the Deep End memberships. And those went to Unbronzed Aussie Laura, Fraud at Terminator, Nunya Bitness, sorry, Holly Moore, and Rosalind Duke. So, congratulations for those of you who are now members of the Church of Mo. And thank you, Wolfram. Why do we have to have the moniker of being slobs? That's why we are literally getting in everyone's face now and saying enough is enough. Town of Babylon supervisor Richard Schaefer told CBS New York. The town said more than 250 tons of road trash have been picked up so far this year, along with another 50,000 pounds of trash that are being removed from creeks that lead into this Great South Bay. We want to show people that if you're littering, you're doing something totally irresponsible and immature, Schaefer said. The town said first-time offenders can face a fine of up to $1,000 for littering. So there you go. Do not litter anywhere, but more specifically on Long Island. In the DMV bureaucracy snafu is this? Tennessee cancels a driver's license of a 77-year-old Navy veteran, saying he's not a U.S. citizen. He seems to be a little bit confused about his non-citizen status. A U.S. Navy veteran who has lived in America for more than 7 decades says it now feels like his country doesn't want him after his citizenship was challenged by authorities in Tennessee. As the nation celebrates Independence Day on July 4th, David O'Connor is locked in a battle with the state DMV, the worst battle to be locked into, which has taken away his license after claiming he could not prove he was an American citizen. He enlisted in the Navy. The 77-year-old has been a professional truck driver for the last 61 years and has held driver's licenses in New York, New Hampshire, and Vermont, according to News Channel 5. He also got a license 8 years ago when he moved to Tennessee, according to O'Connor. Last month, the state canceled his license. They told me I shouldn't have had a license in the first place because I can't prove I'm a U.S. citizen, O'Connor told News Channel 5. But both of O'Connor's parents are U.S. citizens, but were briefly living in Canada when he was born, meaning he has a Canadian birth certificate. When O'Connor went to the Driver's Service Center in McMinn County to renew his license and get a real ID, the certificate was rejected. They said, "No, that's not good. We shouldn't have given you a license in the first place," O'Connor recalled. "They just canceled my license right then and there." He says he's now being made to jump through multiple hoops to prove he's a U.S. citizen. "I've been here for 77 years, Connor told the outlet. "None of this makes any sense to me." At the age of 17, O'Connor enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where he served 4 years as a sonar technician. As well as his parents' U.S. citizenship, his military discharge forms list him as an American. He also has a Social Security card, gets retirement benefits, and votes every year. Despite this, without approval and a license from the state, the Navy veteran can no longer drive, can't get on a plane, and won't be able to vote in the upcoming elections in November. "It's like your country don't want you. I've tried to do things the right way all my life. Now it's like I'm nothing," he told News Channel 5. The O'Connors were supposed to visit family earlier in Vermont, but without a driver's license, he couldn't fly anywhere. Ultimately, O'Connor had to cancel his airline ticket and have his son drive him there. His wife, Jean O'Connor, said she was flabbergasted and outraged over the situation. "It just blows my mind," she told News Channel 5. "I'm flabbergasted. I'm outraged that a 77-year-old, he's now considered a non-citizen by the country he's lived in his whole life." Social media users were also quick to react to the story, calling the treatment of O'Connor messed up and ridiculous. What a shame they're treating him this way. I hope he gets this straightened out soon. Hate to see veterans treated this way, one user wrote. This is insanity. Who makes these asinine decisions? Um, this is a story about the DMV. I believe we have all been held hostage there at one point or another, being told by an aggressively unfriendly person that we will have to speak to another aggressively unfriendly person in another line that we will now have to take another number for. So I feel like I have found the source of the issue. In a weird story that what in the Lifetime movie is this here? Teens on TikTok discover they are actually twins who were kidnapped from their parents at birth. Can you imagine being on TikTok trying to, I don't know, plank or eat a Tide Pod, and you'll find another person that looks just like you, and you're like, hey, are we related? Also, don't eat Tide Pods. Uh, let's see. Elaine D, we're just going to call her Elaine D, was scrolling on TikTok in 2022 when she had to do a double take. There was a girl who looked just like her. The European team immediately reached out to Anna P, because they both have what I'm going with, maybe Romanian and or Portuguese names, and I do not want to tick off the entirety of Europe this day. Like, it's 4th of July, but I'm going to try to keep, not going to try to cause an international incident. Who she believed was her doppelganger, and the two had an instant connection. But as it turned out, the pair had more than a bond. They shared DNA. After several months of getting to know each other online, the two discovered that they were both adopted. I had a happy childhood, but now my entire past has felt like a deception, Anna told the AFP, according to Daily Mail. Once they realized they didn't actually know their biological family, the girls decided to take a DNA test and learned they weren't doppelgangers, but they're identical twins. Uh, Good night, nurse. We became friends without suspecting we might be sisters. Both of us felt there was something special between us. Elaine told AFP, while the girl's revelation may be shocking, it's unfortunately more common and dark than either had expected. The DNA test for Aline and Anna was arranged with the help of Georgian, so this would be European Georgia, not Southern Georgia. Just, just to let you know, journalist Tamunda Musarendis, who had investigated countrywide kidnapping scheme that appears to have taken place from 1950 to 2006. Tamunda first discovered the debacle in 2016 when she found she had two birth certificates with different dates while clearing out her mother's house when she passed away. We found out there were more than 100,000 children stolen in Georgia's hospitals, she told an Australian broadcasting corporation. Through her investigation, she learned that a scheme was run by organized criminals who recruited a wide range of accomplices, including doctors and government officials. Oftentimes, hospital staff would lie to parents, telling them their child had passed away at birth, then pass them off to be sold to families who didn't realize their new children were kidnapped. Anne's mother, Fatima P., confirmed that she paid thousands of dollars, enough to buy a small apartment in Georgia at the time, to adopt her in 2005 after years waiting to adopt a child. I had no clue at that time you had to wait ages to adopt someone. My husband and I were waiting 6 years before we got Anna, the mom told ABC. We really had no idea about the corrupt system and couldn't imagine such a thing. Aline's adopted mother, Lana, told AFP that adopting from an orphanage seemed virtually impossible due to the incredibly long wait lists. I mean, what a terrible thing for these children and these parents. They were all lied to. She was overjoyed when she heard about a 6-month-old baby available for adoption from a local hospital for a fee. They brought Aline right to my house, she said. She never suspected anything illegal. Anna and Aline are grateful for their families that raised them and to have found each other, but they still hope to be reunited with their biological parents. Maybe they don't even know we exist because when children were adopted, sometimes their biological parents were lied to, told your child passed away. Maybe our parents think we are dead. We are not even alive. It would be so great to find them and tell them the truth, Aline told ABC. To help deceived families find each other, Tamunda started a Facebook page dedicated to reuniting babies stolen from their families. It currently has about 250,000 members and has reunited 700 families. I mean, this is the kind of journalism we need. This is the kind of absolute, incredible story that needs to be put out there because so many people were hurt and affected. And I wish we could get back to this kind of journalism. These are the type of stories speaking for the voiceless, speaking for the people that don't have the if the media would start doing. But instead we're talking about ridiculous stuff and it's just irritating. The reporter has also teamed up with human rights lawyer Leah Muscahavara to further investigate the decades long national, adoption scam. It's pretty clear it was well structured, a legal business in this country. Sadly, this isn't the only country to be accused of a long running, trial runaway scheme, sort of. These kids, this is sadly something that happens. Forced adoptions took place before Pinochet came into power, but increased significantly under his regime as the dictator saw the adoptions as a brutal means of eliminating poverty and controlling population growth. Christina Prisco of the Bronx was one of those children. Finding out the way I did was a bit shocking, but I'm happy to know the real story, and I'm a little angry at everything my mother went through, she previously told the Post. The people involved were evil people, and they robbed me of my family. So this is the type of journalism that I'd really support, the kind that helps family, gets to the bottom of things. And in our final story of the day, well, you better make sure you have consensual cuddlings because apparently, and I know you're going to be shocked, but Florida woman lands in cuffs over cuddle kerfuffle. A Florida woman yesterday was arrested for DV after attacking her boyfriend because he declined to cuddle with her. That seems Thanks, Fraud It Wrangler. So this was the most 4th of July shirt I could find. I don't know if any of you grew up in the time where it wasn't summer unless you got your official Old Navy patriotic t-shirt, but I didn't feel like going to Old Navy this year, so I found a different patriotic t-shirt. But every year, like from high school to my early 20s, if you didn't get that, Old Navy, you know, patriotic shirt, were you even really summering? Investigators say that the cuddle kerfuffle began Saturday evening when Julian Eugen, 22, argued with her beau regarding the victim's disinterest in the defendant engaging in physical intimacy. Oh, he had a headache. The dispute reignited Sunday morning in the couple's Seminole residence after Eugen continually tried to cuddle with the victim. When the man rebuffed the cuddling, Eugen escalated the dispute into a physical confrontation. Yeah, because the best way to get someone to love you is to annoy them. Uh, Eugen allegedly grabbed the victim's chest hair, scratched him in his face, and bit his forehead, broke his phone. Well, yeah, but since it's the girl, it's the girl, so it was a little bit funny. Y'all, I blame The View, but that's because I hate that show. So if I could blame everything on The View and get it taken off air, people aren't teaching their children. I With all the social emotional, teaching going on in schools, yes, feelings are okay. Everyone has a crap ton of feelings all the time, but we're teaching all the feelings but no self-control. At least that is my unexpertise opinion. We're telling people that it's okay to be emotionally like unconstipated toddlers just spewing emotions everywhere because, feelings. But what we aren't teaching people is to continue to remain to be an adult and have and practice self-control when, having all these feelings. The normal things we used to tell people, like, yeah, it really stinks, but let's handle this the right way. Now we're like, you feel hurt, let's avenge you. We just are teaching all the dumb things and none of the wisdom. After being read her rights, Eugen reportedly admitted she continued to touch the victim multiple times after repeatedly being told to stop. Ma'am, no means no. No means no. I am sure you have a stuffed animal collection that rivals Jojo Siwa. Please go deal and go be weird with your stuffed animals. Don't attack another human after they told you no. As seen above, Eugen was arrested for domestic battery, a misdemeanor, and booked into the county jail where she was released from custody, today on her own, and a judge ordered her again to have no contact with the victim. So, yeah, I guess. I guess she will be celebrating the 4th of July, not cuddling. And since Mr. Mo is starting up with Destruction O'Clock because he's making me a new laundry room, I am going to head out of here since the power tools, I'm told, are going to be coming out, which will make recording things amazingly difficult. I will be back at what time did I set this up? Because I am a genius and should know these things, but I don't. I will be back to celebrate the greatest American cultural export ever, body cam footage, 4th of July, shenaniganza, at noon. It's supposed to be storming and rainy here, so if you want to spend an hour or two with me watching, the greatest thing that America has ever made, police body cam videos, please join me. Please join me for that. And we will have nightly newsy news at 7 tonight. So have a great day. Have, fun time with your family. If it's yucky outside and you just want to stay and hang out, we will have police body cam footage, with all the smart criminals everywhere. Have a lovely day. Happy 4th of July. Be safe. Don't do anything with fireworks that will get you taken to the ER. You know, just be safe out there. I'll see you guys later. Bye.